Presidential candidate and Senator from Vermont Bernie Sanders won the North Dakota presidential caucus back in 2016. And now he's in for another fight, and he joins us now. Senator, it seems that moderates are backing Joe Biden. How do you beat the vice president in a state like this?
Well, I think we beat Joe by talking about the issues that are important to the working families of North Dakota. And North Dakota, like every other state in this country, understands that human beings in America are entitled to health care as a right, not a privilege. They are sick and tired of paying the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. They are nervous that when they get sick, in some cases, if you have a high deductible, no insurance, you can't even go to a doctor. So I think health care for all is one of the reasons why I think we win in North Dakota. The other reason is that people understand that at a moment of massive income and wealth inequality, we've got to raise the minimum wage in this country to a living wage of at least $15 an hour. And we must demand that the billionaires in America who are doing phenomenally well start paying their fair share of taxes. And furthermore, we have got to recognize, and most Americans do, unfortunately Trump does not, that climate change is an existential threat to this planet. We've got to transform our energy system.
Many of your further left policies have been widely adopted by your party since 2016, but in North Dakota we have what's called a Republican super ultra mega majority. How do you appeal to Democrats in a state where Democrats tend to be more moderate?
Well, I think I would reverse that question and ask how come in a state like North Dakota the Democrats have virtually no representation in the legislature or in the Congress? How does that happen? Where are we right now? And I think the answer right now is there are a lot of people in North Dakota and all over this country who are profoundly disgusted with a political system which benefits the rich at the expense of working people. They don't vote. They don't get involved. And I think the issues that we are talking about, raising the minimum wage to a living wage, making sure that all of our kids, regardless of income, can get a higher education, demanding the wealthy stop paying their fair share of taxes, healthcare is a human right, dealing with climate change. These are issues that people agree with. These are not radical ideas. But we have got to start talking to the working families of this country who for so long have been ignored. And when we do that, I think you're going to grow the voter turnout, which is key not only in defeating Trump, but in electing Democrats up and down the ballot. We need a very large voter turnout. And the same old status quo politics, just in my view, is not going to do it.
Now, you've backed a bill that calls for the banning of oil fracking by 2025, and oil and gas revenues are projected to make nearly $5 billion for the state, with it being the largest industry. What policies do you have that would mitigate economic losses?
Look, let me respond in two ways. And this is not Bernie Sanders speaking. This is what the leading scientists of the world are saying. What they are saying is that climate change is an existential threat to our country and the entire planet. That if we do not get our act together as a planet, working with countries all over the world, what you're going to see is more rising sea levels, more drought, more extreme weather disturbances. You're going to see millions of people who are climate refugees around the world forced to leave their homes because they have no water or places to grow their food. This is not Bernie Sanders talking. This is what the scientific community is talking about. So we have got to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And the proposal that I am offering will create up to 20 million good-paying jobs as we transform our energy system. And the proposal that I am also talking about, based on the principles of the Green New Deal, put billions and billions of dollars into what we call a just transition program, which protects those workers in the fossil fuel industry to go out and get the education they need, the job training they need. They will have income for 5 years, unprecedented, because the workers in the fossil fuel industry on oil rigs or in coal mines, they're not my enemy. I perhaps have the strongest lifetime pro-worker voting record in Congress. They are not my enemy. We're going to protect them. But we also have to protect future generations, our kids, our grandchildren. And if we don't work with the world and transform our energy system, the planet we're going to be leaving future generations becomes increasingly unhealthy and uninhabitable. So this, to me, we don't have any option on this one. We've got to save the planet for future generations.
Now, we don't have a lot of billionaires in this state, so how do you ensure that those dollars get to the oil patch?
What we are going to do is start pumping money in to those states based on the real priorities that this country is facing right now. And that means we have got to triple funding for low-income Title I schools. We've got to make sure that our public colleges and universities are tuition-free. We've got to build 10 million units of low-income and affordable housing. We've got to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure. We can create millions of good-paying jobs by rebuilding our roads, our bridges, our water systems, our wastewater plants, our airports, schools that are increasingly dilapidated. So that money goes to every state in this country based on need.
Senator Sanders, thank you for taking the time.
Thank you very much.